What's up, fight fans? Welcome to my channel. This is Johnny, and in today's video, we're going to be going over Bakhram Murtazaliev's dominant victory over Tim Tszyu, specifically the differences in his performance from his last fight in April against Jack Culcay to 2 nights ago in Orlando, Florida against Tszyu. Guys, before we continue, I want to say thank you to all the new subscribers. Thank you to everybody who's been with me since day one. And if you haven't already, could you please hit the notification button? If you like the content that I create, what this will allow me to do, every time I put something out that's new, you'll be the first to be notified. Thank you. Guys, yesterday I released my weekly Stats Don't Lie video after a huge fight, breaking down the result, and this fight was the shocking third round knockout victory of Murtazaliev finishing Tim Tszyu. We know that Tszyu got dropped 4 times and that his corner had to throw the towel in. That video breakdown is tagged in this one. But like always, one of my favorite things about my channel and you guys is learning from you guys. And one of the moments in that video yesterday I spoke about was the obvious difference in performances from Murtazaliev from last April against Culcay to 2 nights ago against Tszyu. And one of you guys commented and made it known to me. And I didn't know this. And this is why my goal always on this channel is to learn and do better with each video. But one of you guys, which I'm going to give a shout out to, said that the reason why Murtazaliev looked the way he looked in April against Culcay is because it was the month of Ramadan. And that's something that I did not take into consideration. And I did my due diligence, did my research, and in this video, I'm going to show you the differences in the weigh-ins of what Murtazaliev looked like against Culcay versus Tszyu. I said it in the video, against Culcay, he looked drawn out, he looked worn. Even in the fight, he didn't look refueled, he didn't look rehydrated. And we know that fight went 11 rounds. He got hit a lot. It was a brutal affair. And then when you watch the Tszyu weigh-in, he looked fresher, he looked bigger. And then when you looked at the fight, he looked like he refueled. And so this video, I'm going to talk about the differences in that performance. And before we continue, I want to show you the side-by-side weigh-ins from Culcay and the Tszyu fight. All right, guys, you could see the difference in just even his nonverbal communication, how he carries himself, his body language. To educate everybody, those who might not be aware, Ramadan is the most important month on the Islamic calendar. It's the month in which the first verses of the Quran were revealed to the Prophet Muhammad. During Ramadan, Muslims around the world fast from sunrise to sunset. Guys, and we know there's many athletes around the world who are Muslim and many athletes around the world who will train through Ramadan and perform. But when you think about a combat sports athlete and you think about a boxer and the role that recovery plays on performance, the role that nutrition plays on performance, and more importantly, the role that steady habits, our body is a mixed bag of mechanisms that operates at the highest level when we go to bed at the same time, when we eat at the same time, when we sleep at the same time. Our systems are in rhythm. Now, during Ramadan, the athlete, the fighter, in this case, Murtazaliev, still ate. But like I said, and like you heard, what throws the fighter and the athlete off is that these now are changed and limited to fasting from sunrise to sunset. And it is fascinating to see the difference. And just watch the Culcay fight, watch the Tszyu fight, and you could see a re-energized and recharged Murtazaliev in everything that he did. And I want to go over an interview that I found from a couple nights before the Tszyu fight that Murtazaliev did in his native tongue, Russian. He doesn't speak English. And I'm going to read the translated article. Now, I did not see this being tossed around the mainstream media. I'll have this whole article linked in this video description. But Murtazaliev himself brings up to the interviewer that he is going to be 5 times better than he was against Culcay. And he said that Tszyu better be prepared. And in this article, he accuses Kolke's team and other fighters in the division of purposefully only trying to fight Murtazaliev during Ramadan. He said that no fighter wanted to sign the contract, no fighter wanted to sign on the dotted line, and Kolke only agreed if this fight were to take place in April and in Germany. And this is just fascinating, and it's just even a bigger kudos and a bigger clap towards the camp of Murtazaliev for him overcoming these things. And it's something that we don't often think about as adversity that fighters go through. It's something that I didn't even think about with so many Muslim fighters in boxing and MMA, that you don't even think about that, what that does to the body in terms of our regulatory systems and patterns when you're fasting, especially in a combat sport, of getting hit, recovering, sleeping, and all that good stuff. The role that nutrition plays on the body with all of that is highly, highly important. So here is that article. I'm going to read it briefly, and this is the version of English from Murtazaliev talking to Darren Walton. And the headline reads, Russian rival warns Tim Tszyu after emerging from Ramadan. Fighting to feed his family, Bakhram Murtazaliev has warned Tim Tszyu he will be a minimum 5 times better than he was when he beat Jack Kolke, because he will not be fasting. Harsh critics claim the Russian looked slow against Kolke and cumbersome before he finally stopped him with a big left hand in the 11th round. But the devout Muslim insists there were mitigating factors at play after being forced to fight Kolke in the Germans' homeland during Ramadan. We were training at 3 in the morning, Murtazaliev said on Thursday through a translator. We were training 12 at midnight, so I'm not even going to go there. I don't want you guys to hear these as excuses. What they did was unfair, but thank God we got to get to fight, because a lot of fighters have turned me down. Asked how much better he would be this weekend at the Caribe Royal Resort in Florida, the unbeaten champion said it would be lights out for Tszyu if the Sydney challenger walked into one of his heavy right hands or his left hooks. And I quote, minimum 5 times better than my last fight. I'm in better shape now, better conditioning, and everything is good, the quietly spoken Murtazaliev said. And I quote, if I connect, yeah, he's going down for sure. Why don't we just see? You guys will see what's going on then, and all the conversations that we're having, all the stuff going through online, they'll all have their answers. I'm very confident I'm going to win this fight. Guys, and end quote. You can read the rest of that article. Like I said, it's in the description below. But talk about a prediction and talk about a man living up to his words. How could you argue with that? There's a lot to unload here. The fact that Kolke and his camp purposefully made him fight in April. Murtazaliev doesn't seem like a guy who would make things up. He seems like a pretty straightforward shooter. And he was right. He looked entirely different. And you look at a guy now, and this is why I titled the description of this video, Non-Ramadan Murtazaliev is a problem. And when you look at the 154-pound division, when you look at the champions, you got Bud at WBA, you got Seb WBC, WBO, now you have Murtazaliev at IBF. We like talking about unified fights. We like talking about becoming undisputed. Who's next for Murtazaliev? Who does he match up best with? And who is going to fight him next? I don't have these answers. I want you guys to leave your opinion, though, on what you think Murtazaliev said about Kolke. Do you think he's being honest with that, forcing him to fight during Ramadan? And was it just me, or do you agree that that version in April versus that version we saw against Tszyu is totally different? Non-Ramadan Murtazaliev is a problem.